Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, on Women's Month, which starts today, this March, I rise as a woman who seeks not only gender equality, but also equality for all generations to come, that future generations would equally receive the benefits of a balanced and healthful ecology. I rise as a mother who, like Mother Earth, cares not only for our own children, but also for our children's children, and who would appreciate that the love and care we give are reciprocated with respect and equal care. It is on this note that we have been calling on everyone, nations, governments, all sectors of society, individuals, to act towards the protection of the planet, the protection of our environment, to heal the wounds that we have inflicted on Mother Earth, and to combat the greatest challenge humanity faces, the climate crisis. Just last week, on February 26 to 27, French Republic President François Hollande visited the Philippines to drum up support towards urgent climate action. A highlight of this visit was the launch of the joint Philippines-France statement, the Manila Call to Action on Climate Change, which this representation, along with French actress Marion Cotillard, was honored to read. The document is a joint appeal of the two nations urging the international community towards climate action and cooperation, and to ensure a successful global climate agreement at the 21st Conference of Parties of the United Nations Framework on Climate Change, or COP21, which will be hosted by France in December this year. It will be recalled, Mr. President, that way back in 2008, 7 years ago, parliamentarians from the Philippines, Cambodia, China, Costa Rica, Ghana, Jordan, the Republic of Korea, Uganda, the East African Legislative Assembly launched the Manila Call for Action of Parliamentarians on Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Change Adaptation, with the goal of creating an enabling environment for promoting disaster risk reduction, to mainstream it into socio-economic development, and to make it a national and international priority. This 2008 call for action was a result of the consultative meeting for global parliamentarians, which this representation, as a UNISDR champion, had convened here in Manila, which the Philippine Senate also sponsored. So then and now, 7 years later, our call has always been collective action towards sustainability and resilience. We are sounding the alarm on the urgency to act against the climate crisis. Mr. President, just so that it is in the historical records of our chamber of the Philippine Senate, allow me to read into the record only the call for climate action this year, but to also request that the 2008 Manila Call for Action of Parliamentarians on Disaster Risk Reduction and Climate Change be inserted into the records, since it is quite lengthy. Allow me, therefore, Mr. President, to just read a few portions of the Manila Call to Action of 2015. And I would like to read just portions, but request that the whole call to action, again, just like the 2008 call to action, be inserted into the records. It actually says that the heads of state of the Philippines and France, along with leading individuals from different countries, are committed to climate action, gathered in Manila to engage the international community, all stakeholders and world opinion on the urgency of addressing climate change seriously, efficiently, and equitably. Less than a year ahead of a 21st Conference of the Parties to the UNFCCC COP21, which will take place in December this year, the outcome of which will affect the lives of billions of people, we call upon the international community to conclude a universal, equitable, and ambitious climate deal in line with the scientific recommendations set out by the IPCC to preserve our planet as a livable place for future generations. And from Manila today, we hope to make history together in Paris in December and not simply watch history unfold. And as we meet in the Philippines, where people have endured an unprecedented series of extreme weather events in the last few years, we are reminded that while the developing nations have contributed least to climate change, they are the ones that suffer the most from climate change impacts. While we face similar threats and shared vulnerabilities, we have also varying strengths and capacities to address these challenges. However, we believe that our vulnerabilities and exposure to climate-induced hazards can be reduced. In the face of all these, the people of the Philippines have shown extraordinary resilience. We also call for climate action, we call for climate solidarity and justice, and we also say that we call for climate cooperation. There are other parts of this Manila call to action I will no longer read here in session, Mr. President, but all I would like to say is we need an agreement that is negotiated and accepted by everyone and for everyone, an agreement that takes all differences in situations into account and aims at bridging varying perspectives to hasten collective action. We need an agreement that reduces emissions, that creates economic opportunities, and equips us to manage the associated risks that are already locked in for the foreseeable future. And there it goes. There are many more elements of this call to action. And to end this, however, my request again is to insert everything in toto. And to end, Mr. President, everyone needs to echo this appeal to raise the awareness of this urgent action everywhere and to reach a successful global climate agreement in December this year. With that, I thank this chamber, Mr. President, for your patience and for listening all the time. And I will not stop until all nations, including our country, commits not only to adaptation, but also to mitigation. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Legarda. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we refer the speech to the Committee on Climate Change.
The speech is referred to the Committee on Climate Change.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
Secretary will read the reference of business.
Bills on first reading. Senate number 2666 entitled An Act Supporting